Hey, welcome to
Liminal.
Liminal.
I got hair in my mouth. Okay. Liminal number 5.
Yeah.
When you live in a house with 3 animals,
Yeah.
you just accept that hair is on everything. I've given up trying to be like, I'm sorry, there's hair on things. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have 2 cats, you understand.
Yeah. For sure.
For a second there, I was like,
You
wait,
got
do they
long
have
hair cats though.
Well, for a second there, I was like, wait, do they have 3 cats? Like, in my head, I just gave you a 3rd cat, but that was because my cat was at your house for a while.
What a sweet little baby.
What
I
a
miss
sweet
her.
little baby. Yeah, I missed her too. My roommate took her when he moved out.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's some Ari lore, everybody. If you watch every episode of this podcast for the next 5 years, you'll eventually piece together where Ari and Tristan live. It's like a scavenger hunt, but we'll have moved by then, so it's fine.
What are we talking about today? I think we're talking about vampires.
Vampires, maybe?
Climate of the Hunter just came out.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, so during that episode of Climate of the Hunter, we had talked about it briefly, just like, or at least I had. I mean, I had ranted rather.
You had very strong feelings.
Yeah, and you cut it out a good chunk of it, but like, yeah, everybody. Tristan edits me. Ari goes on rants, and Tristan's like, "This is going on the cutting room floor." Follow us on Coffee for those cutting room floor bits.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get around to making it someday. Anyway, point is, I have strong feelings about vampires. They're my favorite monster.
Yeah.
Like in the monster like appreciator community, I'm gonna say. I don't like.
Let's go with that.
My monster Sona is not a vampire.
Okay.
It's a werecat. I like shapeshifters a lot, but when it comes to the media that I consume, I really, really like vampires because you can do a lot with a vampire. And like shapeshifters are great because as a trans person, like obviously the shapeshifter metaphor is not lost on me, but vampires are very versatile in a way that I feel like shapeshifters aren't necessarily, because how the vampire stuff works and how supernatural it is. There's more dials that you can twist with vampires than shapeshifters.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, a shapeshifter turns into a monster, and the
Right.
dials you can shift are how much control they have over their monster form, or how monstrous is it. Do they turn into like an actual wolf, or they turn into like a weird wolf person?
Right.
You know, stuff like that. Whereas like vampires, it's like, can they walk in the sunlight? Can they not walk in the sunlight? Are they hurt by garlic? Are they not hurt by garlic? How much mythology are you pulling from? There's way more folklore about vampires than there are about shapeshifters.
Yeah.
At least in the Western world. Obviously, I'm poorly educated when it comes to, say, African mythology.
Sure.
But the Western mythology, I have quite a good base in, and vampires are everywhere in Western mythology.
Yeah.
Whereas shapeshifters, there are some really interesting shapeshifters, but I just feel like maybe there's more of a cultural knowledge of it. And it's telling because, you know, of the roleplay and LARP stuff, Vampire the Masquerade is the more popular between that and Werewolf the Apocalypse, which are the 2 biggest.
Take that, werewolves.
No, Werewolf is great. It's fun. But like more people know what Vampire is. Vampire the Masquerade is so popular. It's gotten Werewolf has never gotten video games made about it. And I think that's kind of evident to my point that people tend to have a more of a cultural basis to pull from with vampires. Especially considering the episode that we're going to record after this. When you think about it, like that movie doesn't explain anything. It just shows just expects the audience to know what a vampire is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's definitely valid. Like, they really don't need a lot of explanation, unless you're turning all those dials and really getting into the specifics. But just like the concept of vampires is like, yeah, okay, they're vampires. Yeah.
And like an example of how far it can go is you can have like Count Orlok in Nosferatu or Dracula, which is just Count Orlok, and you can have them and they're like a big supernatural force that's excising all of this supernatural death upon the city that they've come into, because they're like a plague, right?
Okay.
Or you could have on the other end, you can have it be like Blade, where it's a disease. It's a supernatural. It's not a supernatural disease. It's a natural virus that's infected them and turned them into this creature.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have like a middle ground with like The Strain, which I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the show leans more towards the Blade side of things and that it's a biological thing, but the books it's based off of lean heavily on the supernatural. The vampires, like the way it works in that is like these supernatural elements influence the physical elements, so the physical reality adjusts to accommodate the supernatural conditions of the plague.
Yeah.
Like there's a worm that infects you like a parasite and turns you into a vampire, but it's a supernatural creature. It's not but it has all these physical qualities because it's not some thing that exists on like another level. It's a creature existing in the physical world that just has a supernatural origin.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the middle ground most vampire media kind of obtains, is that there's this biological component to their vampirism. But
I'm trying to remember, in I Am Legend, the city is kind of infected with pseudo vampires.
I wouldn't call them I mean, maybe in the book. I've never read the book. I've only watched the movie. And the movie, they're more just like, they're closer to like 28 Days Later zombies.
Yeah. But they can't go in the sunlight, right?
Right, they can't go in the sunlight. Yeah, the sunlight hurts them.
Okay. All right, whatever. So yeah, let's talk about our favorite vampire media. And
sure. You go first.
Well, let's start with one that we both love, which is What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've said it before on this podcast. I fucking love that movie so much.
Yeah.
The show on FX is okay. I like it just fine, but the movie I just love the movie.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different flavor. It's got that kind of Taika Waititi-ness about it that the show doesn't.
Yep, it's almost like he made it and stars in it.
Yeah.
Well, like, so you can, it's like, for example, there's people in the US won't understand this, but there's a very like distinct flavor of humor that like New Zealand has on their media, and you can see that there's a show, a spin-off show of it called Wellington Paranormal, and it follows the two cops from.
Really?
Yes.
I did not even know about that.
It is so good. It is so
I'm gonna have
good.
To look that up.
Because obviously. What we do in the Shadows is really good. It's a well-made piece of art. Mm-hmm. And so obviously corporate execs are going to look at that and be like, we want to spin this off.
Yeah.
It was very popular when it came out in New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, because of course, why wouldn't they rep their boy, right? Like, and so obviously they spun it off. And so Wellington Paranormal started getting spun off like right after that movie came out, and it completely escaped the American radar, because I think you can find it on streaming now. I think you can find it on Max or something. I can't remember.
Okay. Don't
quote me on that, but you can find it. It's just that for the longest time it wasn't available in America. The only way I could watch it was through semi-legal means, because it just wasn't available. Like I happily would have paid to watch this show if it was available to me. But it just wasn't. It was just one of those things, and that's a lot of foreign media. There's another like Adult Swim show that I've been wanting to watch. It's like a comedy horror series, and it's not available in the U.S. anywhere. The only way you can watch it is by pirating it or using a VPN.
Yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, What We Do in the Shadows is a mockumentary about a group of vampires living in New Zealand and
living in a flat together.
Yeah, and they're just kind of like explaining their daily lives to the camera and their rather mundane struggles, like getting dressed in the morning when they can't see themselves in the mirror, and like the fact that they have to get invited into places. Yeah.
And predator density. there are a lot of vampires in where they're at.
Yeah.
Like when they got into the city and there's so many vampires around, I'm like, there's no fucking way there's enough humans to sustain this vampire population. But it speaks to the comedy of it. Like, and you know, the way the vampires work is it's very supernatural in What We Do in the Shadows. Their reflection literally starts to lag behind them when they get turned, and then eventually it stops showing up for them. Like that's what happens when Nick is being turned.
I forgot about that.
He's like looking in the mirror, and then his reflection starts to lag behind him, and then eventually it's just like, oh well, it just got lost somewhere, which makes me feel like I've always thought like that their reflection is just lagging behind them, so like it does show up eventually. It just is like
has some interesting implications.
Yeah, honestly, What We Do in the Shadows does some very interesting things with vampires, like how they work and stuff like that. That it doesn't go explained, but that's not the point, because the vampires are representative of gay people in that movie. Just being queer, and just like how that you dress funny and you have a very eccentric style, and you're seen as this monstrous creature, but really you're just a sensitive metrosexual dandy, or you're just like some guy. Yeah, and you just want to live with your mates in a flat. And I've always took it as like a typical, like somebody gets introduced to a bunch of the gay people, is freaked out at first, but then gets indoctrinated into their like little circle. Then they have a falling out, and then with Nick, Nick is like the one who's like representing like a new person coming about to their sexuality.
Hilarious movie. And if you've seen Flight of the Conchords, very similar sense of humor. Jermaine Clement is one of the vampires, and Rhys Darby is a werewolf. He's actually the alpha of his pack, which is hilarious.
I love it. We are werewolves, not swearwolves. If you've ever heard that, that's where it comes from. And honestly, like really, really tasteful use of horror, because like the werewolf transformation scene, they don't play it for jokes. It's like horrifyingly brutal, and then they have the jokes afterwards. But like while it's happening, it's like they take it seriously, and that's how horror comedy should be. Is that they should like, because if you're not going to respect the horror element, then why aren't you just making a comedy? Right. Like, you know, so that's how I feel about it. Great movie. If you've watched the show, you will love the movie. I'm sure more of you have watched the show than have watched the movie, because it is definitely way bigger budget than the movie was. I think every episode of the show costs about the same that the movie did.
Wild.
What about you? What's some other vampire media that you've liked?
You know, I haven't really seen a lot of it. I looked up a list on Letterboxd to like cross-reference to see the ones that I've seen. And
you've seen Blade, right?
Yes.
How do you feel about Blade?
I thought it was fun.
I'm just interested in your thoughts. Do you remember what it's about?
I don't quite remember like what role the vampires had societally, if they were like in power or just like more of a...
It's like a shadow power thing. So like, in a lot of vampire media, and this is actually an interesting point, is like in a lot of vampire media, they are like aristocracy, or they're some kind of like controlling force. That like doesn't directly control things, but does have like enough influence that like they don't have like a controlling influence so much, but they have enough power to like keep themselves hidden. And this is because like, especially like the modern language of it, like anything from past the late 90s into the 2000s, it's because Vampire the Masquerade has the Camarilla, which is just a distillation of all of the previous things that vampire media had at that point. And it's so effective at presenting that information that pretty much every vampire media made after that's not using the vampires for some other purpose has some form of a Camarilla that's like has a veil and keeping this society secret. Even What We Do in the Shadows has that going on.
True.
Like they get really pissed off at the rest of the vampires because they're having a camera crew follow them around, and it's like a whole bit. So in Blade, it's just like they're just a camarilla, just a veil of secrecy that's just like keeping it under wraps, and they're all ancient except for the main antagonist, who's a newer vampire, and he hasn't earned a seat at the table, which incites the whole fucking conflict of the movie.
Yeah.
Blade's a comic character, and like it's one of the first comic movies to actually be successful. Like they had been trying to make comic book movies since comics.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
they had succeeded with like Superman and the Batman franchise and stuff. But Blade was like the first like modern superhero movie in its presentation. Like it's where like you watch the original Superman or you watch the Batman movies. It's like the ones from like the early years, like the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's a certain cartoonishness to it, whereas Blade was more of a action film of its time, but it kind of set the stage for what a superhero movie would be up until even now. And when you watch fucking From There to Infinity War, there's a direct family tree that links those two, in terms of like what's expected to be present in a superhero film.
Yeah. And speaking of like vampires as aristocracy,
yes,
let's talk about Sam Neill, CEO of the Vampires. Because I went into that movie thinking I was going to see Sam Neill, president of the Vampires, and I was disappointed.
Why? What was?
It's just not interesting to me. Like the businessman. I don't know.
Well, think about this. What is the modern aristocracy? All of these fucking corporatist elites.
I mean, yeah.
So, like, I can see that they were just trying to translate that.
Pretty dull movie. I don't recommend it, but has one of the best, like, 20 seconds of cinema. Absolutely hilarious moment. So the vampires drive cars.
Yes.
Of course, like fucking Rolls Royces.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they? Look, if you're a vampire and you've been alive for 200 years and you're not super wealthy, just walk into the sun. You're doing something wrong.
Yeah. They can't allow windows on the cars, so there's just these screens where the windows would be. And Willem Dafoe is driving his little cyber car, and he crashes into a post, flies through this windshield, bursts into flame in the sun, and lands in a sewer in the span.
We're talking about Daybreakers in case anybody didn't catch on.
Oh, yeah. I sometimes I forget it's not called Sam Neill, CEO of the Vampires.
I like what Daybreakers was trying to do, which was use the vampires as a representation for people caught up in the corporate emptiness of things. Mm-hmm. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, no, everyone's a new vampire in Daybreakers. Now that I'm remembering.
Oh.
It's a new disease. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. No, that's why it makes sense. I forgot.
I'll edit that out.
Yeah, it's in Daybreakers, it's a new disease. So they're all just people that were turned, and they haven't really been alive that long. But it's like vampirism is a representative of capitalism.
Right.
And so everybody wants to be turned into a vampire because everyone wants to be immortal. But then once everybody's a vampire, there's no blood left. They've run out of blood. And instead of like ethically farming blood from people, they have developed this thing where they're like leeching people until they're dead, which is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so like, and it's like, it's all just a big giant metaphor for corporate greed.
Yeah.
And how you can just you can so easily see how they could sustainably have blood, but they choose not to. And instead they choose to just leech people until they're dead. And then they're working on a blood substitute because once all the humans are gone, they realize that they're going to be fucked, but they don't care in the moment. They only care about profits.
Right.
And power.
Yeah.
And I think that's the significance of it, is like they go out of the city into like the middle of fucking nowhere. And that's where the cure for vampirism was found, was when you just, at first abandoning all of your capitalist principles seems like it will destroy you, like catch you on fire and obliterate you. But after doing it in small doses allows you to accustom yourself to living without that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Daybreaker's communist propaganda confirmed, you know.
On paper, I'm down with that.
Yeah,
As a movie, I did not.
The movie's so
enjoy it.
fucking boring.
Yeah.
But I love what it was trying to say.
Yeah.
That's y'all, Ari runs into this problem so much where she watches a movie, she really loves what it has to say, but fucking can't stand the actual movie.
Yeah. So what's another example of a movie that, or anything that uses vampires in an interesting way? We haven't talked about Sinners yet.
That's true. I was saving that. But yeah, we can talk about Sinners. Sinners, fucking great.
And
that movie made me cry.
Really complex metaphor.
Layers of metaphors.
Yeah.
Instead of layers of artifice, it's layers of metaphors.
Yeah.
Good Lord, did Sinners fucking rattle me my core. Especially, like, honestly, the parts about Sinners that rattle me to my core, though, are all the parts that don't involve the vampires.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like this idea of, like, art connecting with generations transcending time.
Yeah.
And the scene where he's playing and then everything just starts to burn down and melt down because everyone's just getting so lost in the music that it's even transcending time and space. It's just like we all have our own addition to the tapestry that is the collective art of our culture. And when you and I make art, we're engaging with a cultural tradition. Even me as an outsider artist and you as an outsider artist, where a lot of our stuff is self-taught and we haven't really like had like super formal education about a bunch of things, but we just make art for the sake of it. We still are having a conversation with everyone who's made art before us and everybody who will make art after us.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small little part of that conversation.
Yeah, that's...
And the vampires represent the kind of people who do not understand that a conversation evolves. The vampires want everything to stay the same. They want to live forever. And that is used in Sinners to represent keeping things as they are. It's literally conservatism versus progressivism, but using art instead of political matters. Like the political aspect of it with the Klan, it's actually not really that important to the film. What's important to the film is that everybody involved is either on the side of art is an evolving monument and I just want to be part of that conversation, which is the form of the power to connect with people, the magic.
Yeah.
And then the vampires represent, no, fuck that. I want to live forever and I want to hungrily devour everything that's beautiful in the world.
Yeah.
But then the vampire of Sinners he's unsatisfied. He's depressed. He's empty inside. He wants so badly to connect with he wants to connect with the conversation of art again.
Yeah.
But he can't anymore.
Yeah.
So he's predating on
people who can.
People who can.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, other layers to it as well. There's stuff about assimilation and appropriation. But yeah, I think that's a good read on at least one of the threads.
Oh, yeah.
In Sinners.
The one that really directly relates to the vampirism, as what the vampirism is trying to represent. Because, like, I mean, yeah, we can talk about the cultural elements, of course. But it's just like, I can't stop thinking about how all of us internally can just clock a vampire. Like, if somebody isn't truly passionate about what they do and they're just there to like feed on your art and devour your art, we have something inside of us that can just recognize that.
Yeah.
Like, we all know what a poser is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that word's got like crowded language in it. You know, it's got some cultural baggage now. But like, if you go to, like, I really like punk, and if I go to a punk show, and we're all vibing and crashing out to this fucking great stuff that's happening, and somebody walks in and they're just a tourist, we all know who they are, and like, you can be kind to those people, but the problem is that when you let people in who don't have any desire to engage with the true emotion of art, all they're going to do is suck it dry until there's nothing left, and then everyone is just depressed and moves on. You kill everybody. Everyone's either a vampire or dead.
Yeah.
And that's why the vampires have to kill you in Sinners to turn you into one of them. Literally have to snuff out the lifeblood of you. And then you get to be one of them. But you're all connected into a giant hive mind. And so all you're doing is just becoming part of a cultural collective understanding of something. And you're not engaging with it on your own anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of these themes came up in the movie that we just watched, which is Only Lovers Left Alive. But you will have to wait several weeks
before that comes out.
Yeah. That'll be in the back half of the season.
Yes,
actually.
it will be, actually. But the little teaser for that, that's a good vampire movie. And we'll have we have a lot of good things to say.
Yeah, definitely watch it in the meantime.
It was a bit of transcendent coincidence that we happened to watch that movie right as Climate of the Hunter was coming out, because that was not planned. We just picked it.
Yeah, no, I originally picked it because of the previous movie, which was very intense, and we wanted something chill.
Yeah, and we'll get into it with our episode, but chill. If you're looking for a chill movie, Only Lovers Left Alive is so chill. It's so laid back. In summary, vampires are a very, very heavily tapped well. So it's difficult to do something quote unquote original with vampires.
Yeah.
But what you should be asking yourself is not necessarily the trappings of vampirism. You're not going to have an original idea about how vampires work or the rules or whatever. It's all been done. But what you should be asking yourself is, what do your vampires represent in your story? Are you trying to make a comment about ostracized people, like What We Do in the Shadows is? Are you trying to make a comment about sucking the lifeblood out of art, like Sinners is?
Yeah.
What a vampire is used to represent can be original, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
And I think that gets lost in the sauce a little bit, just because media literacy isn't what it used to be. And so when people just see vampires, they're like, oh, it's vampires. They see a lot of schlock where it's really like dense media, and there is a lot of schlock,
of course.
But even schlock can have something it's trying to say, like Daybreakers. We just had a conversation about Daybreakers. Yeah. So vampires are cool. Vampires don't suck.
Oh God, there's a movie that I will never, never watch. I've watched some shitty comedy. I watched all of the like epic movie, disaster movie.
Yeah, same.
Meet the Spartans.
Yep.
But vampires suck. I feel like that's where I draw the line.
How do you feel about Twilight?
I have only ever consumed the movies.
Yeah.
And it's always been riffed. So
you've always been taking the piss.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, let me plug Ice on Mars, who Twilight was like one of their first riffs, and then New Moon came a little bit later, and it's one of their best.
Fantastic.
Look up the Order of the League coffee channel page,
whatever the fuck they call them. Coffee shop.
Yeah.
Call them shops.
Everything that's up there is pay what you want. Anyway, Twilight.
Yeah. We had a kind of a brief conversation.
I was about to ask you what you think the vampires like represent in Twilight, because I tend to more focus on the like unfortunate like bad relationship advice of it all.
The vampires in Twilight represent privileged people who benefit from suffering. And the Cullen family is a group of privileged people trying their best to mesh with the lower class and not predate on them.
Yeah.
And they're seen as weaker vampires because they eat animals. Mm-hmm. But I think that represents just like how you may not reach the same heights if you're not actively stepping on other people.
Right.
But it's more fulfilling to be true. Because like the central core of it, like they don't have to be vampires. The only reason they're really vampires in Twilight is just so that there's that huge power difference between Bella and Edward.
Yeah.
But if I had to say what they represent, it is privileged, rich people who are, the Cullens are trying to be ethical about them.
Yeah.
Like, cause like they've all killed people. Every
Obviously.
vampire has killed people. So their power is built on the fact that they've done these atrocities, but they're just trying to make amends for it by being decent now. So all wealth comes from suffering. You can't extract wealth without fucking people over.
Yeah.
So, but what if you do have wealth and you do wake up to that realization, you do develop class consciousness, then it's on you to try and make amends for the shit you've done. That's how I kind of feel about it.
Okay.
Also, just so that it can have an age difference of 100 years, which y'all look, say what you want about like 17-year-olds and 19-year-olds being a gray area or whatever the fuck, but like he's 117 years old.
Right.
Like,
yep.
Can we just we all collectively loved that as a society. Like I was too young really to like be on the Twilight train. I wasn't there. I was a fucking kid. So like my mom was really into the books. I've read the books just so I could see what the fuck people are talking about, and I read a lot. So I mean, I've inhaled tons of books. And I don't. Why did we all love this shit? Why were we all here for it? Like, look, mom porn is okay. I'm not begrudging suburban mom porn, but Twilight is so problematic in like its base. Like, and let's not even talk about the fan fiction that spawned from it that has gone on to give many people bad ideas about things.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, no, I don't. They don't need to be vampires in Twilight. There's no reason. It's like Climb of the Hunter. They don't need to be vampires. They could be any other. They could be witches. They could be fucking werewolves. There are werewolves in Twilight, but I mean, like, it doesn't matter what the supernatural people are. All that matters is the age difference
and the power difference. Yeah.
So they could be any supernatural entity, and it would still be the same story.
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to say that Edward is literally sapping the innocence out of Bella. He's vampirically taking her innocence and corrupting her.
Maybe.
But I don't think that it was thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
That's how it reads to me, though.
Yeah. Well, he hungers for her, and he has to conquer his
God, you might as well just
his lust.
You might as well just stuck a centipede down my shirt with how like fucking oh God, it's so gross. It's so fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Team Jacob, whole way he's a much better pick for her because he's her age, and he has a point when he's like, "What the fuck? Why are you?" Honestly, like, he's played off as like a little fucking beta orbiter incel, but like legitimately he has good points where he's just like, why do you want that? That's a corpse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. That was disgusting, Tristan.
All right. I think we're done here.
That's a good fade out.